President Trump is crowing over a judge's dismissal of a defamation lawsuit by Stormy Daniels. On Twitter, the president suggests he'll take legal action against the adult film star, calling her, quote, horseface, and calling her lawyer third rate. They're both punching back hard. Joining us now, Michael Avenatti. He's the attorney for Stormy Daniels. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Wolf.
All right, so you hit back very quickly against the president today, calling him, and I'm quoting you now, a disgusting misogynist and an embarrassment to the United States. Is this just about helping your client, or is this beginning to get personal for you?
Well, Wolf, I think it's been personal for a while for both my client and myself. But more importantly, Wolf, I mean, this is a disgrace. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Never in my lifetime did I think that I would witness behavior like this from the president of the United States. I'm a father to two daughters, and I know many of your viewers are also fathers and mothers. How do you tell your kids to look up to the president of the United States when he behaves in this manner? It's an absolute joke, and it's a disgrace, and it's about time that we stop shaking our head and we start punching back. I mean, this guy can no longer be permitted to get away with this.
What did Stormy Daniels tell you after she saw the president's tweet?
She was incredulous. She couldn't believe it. She thought that his account had been hacked or that it was some joke, as I did initially when I saw it. I mean, for the president of the United States to engage in this behavior, it's an absolute disgrace. The rest of the world looks at us, they laugh at us, and many of us within the United States are disgusted. I don't care what your politics are. This has no place. It's a complete disrespect to the office of the presidency.
So you frequently tweet about partisan attacks on the president. And as you know, Donald Trump, he says when he's attacked, he's going to attack harder. He's going to counterattack. Is that what you see what's going on here?
No, Wolf, I don't. I think that we're giving him exactly what he gives, and I think that's exactly what you have to do. That's how you treat bullies. You know, these wishy-washy approaches of the past that some Democrats have used, that has gotten the party nowhere. It's gotten the country nowhere. There's only one way to deal with a bully, and that is when they punch you, you hit them back twice as hard. And that's exactly what my client and I are going to continue to do if he continues to attempt to engage in personal attacks and the like. So he better pack a lunch.
So when he attacks you and your client, you're going to attack him even harder. But how does that help your client?
Well, because I think it helps the client by advancing our cause relating to the facts and hopefully dissuading him from engaging in this type of behavior. We're not going to engage in conduct like Marco Rubio and others back in 2016 that were afraid to go after this guy, and then on the single instances when they did, they immediately apologized and engaged in hand-wringing. I mean, that gets you absolutely nowhere. There's only one way to deal with somebody like this, and that is to go right at him.
You and your client suffered a significant setback in court yesterday. Why are you now still so optimistic that you'll win on appeal?
Well, we think the district court judge got it wrong on the defamation claim, Wolf. But also, let me say this. The defamation case was a secondary case to the main case, which is the case over the non-disclosure agreement. I don't think Donald Trump is smart enough to understand that. I actually think that he believes that he won the NDA case, which is laughable. I mean, this is what happens when you elect a moron to the presidency of the United States, somebody that doesn't even understand basic law. It's clear from Donald Trump's tweet that he believes that he actually prevailed in the NDA case, which has never been stronger at this point.
What do you say to your critics, and there are plenty of them out there, who say you only care about grabbing publicity right now so you yourself can run for president in 2020?
No, I don't believe in that at all. I believe they're absolutely wrong. Well, if you know what I believe in? I believe in the rule of law. I believe in facts and evidence. I believe in the truth. And I believe calling this president out for his BS every step of the way. That's what I believe in.
And just finally, you are running, is that right?
No, I have not announced whether I'm running. I haven't made a decision. What I will say is I'm traveling around the country. I'm very encouraged by people and their reaction to me, and a lot of people are encouraging me to run because they think that we need a fighter. We need somebody to call this president out on his conduct, and we've got to get back to making this nation what it once was.
Michael Avenatti, thanks so much for joining us. All right, we just heard from Stormy Daniels' attorney, Michael Avenatti, reacting to President Trump's Twitter attack on them earlier in the day. Let's discuss with our analysts. Tubin, what do you think?
Well, you know, the president calls Stormy Daniels horseface. Michael Avenatti calls the president a moron on television. When you and I disagree, I give you a noogie. I mean, that's just sort of how things work in the United States now. It's just embarrassing. The whole thing is ridiculous. Michael Avenatti lost the case yesterday. That part of the case, there's no question. This is a total victory for the president, but there's more of the lawsuit to come about the non-disclosure agreement. But just the coarsening of the discourse is discouraging. Avenatti didn't start it, but he's certainly a big part of it here.
Yeah, but it's amazing that the president of the United States calls this woman, even though she's been extremely critical of him, lawsuits and all that, horseface.
I do think it's astonishing, although maybe it shouldn't be surprising. We've heard this kind of language before. That said, I do think it's important to keep in mind that the ethical obligation of an attorney is to represent the interests of their clients. It's really difficult to understand how Mr. Avenatti's tweets and statements and media appearances like the one we just saw actually further the interest of his clients. And just because we've seen the president of the United States sort of ignore any sense of professionalism or ethics doesn't mean that we should tolerate it sort of generally.
You know, it's not the first time the president has gone after a woman who's been critical of him based on her appearance. Let's put these pictures up on the screen. As you can see right now, let's put them up on the screen. There you go. Senator Elizabeth Warren, he calls her Pocahontas. Mika Brzezinski of MSNBC, bleeding badly from a facelift. Hillary Clinton doesn't have the look. Stormy Daniels, horseface. Omarosa, dog. Megyn Kelly, bimbo. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand would do anything for campaign donations. Carly Fiorina, look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? You know, so there is a history here of the president going after a woman critic based on her appearance.
That's right, certainly specifically on her appearance. And I think that to the point of it shouldn't be a surprise here. This is so on brand for President Trump. And, but therein is really where the problem lies with our culture, this political moment. The fact that you have these very rude remarks coming from the president, somewhat of a typical Tuesday here in Washington. I think everyone acknowledges that this is a moment in our culture that is a problem. But we have certainly seen this sort of tactic from the president before, this sort of playbook where he feels like his back is against the wall on a certain issue. In this point, the situation with the Saudis, and he feels like he has to lash out at that low-hanging fruit. And this is something that he certainly wants to engage on.
I do think it's worth noting that this isn't only something that Trump does whenever he's being insulting. He reduces women to their looks, even whenever he's praising people. Whenever UN Ambassador Nikki Haley announced her departure last week, he said that she brought an element of glamour to the role. And so I think it's more than just him sort of hitting back. It actually does say something about the way he views women, even women who have obtained high-ranking office in the country.
But he won in this particular case. The lawsuit was dismissed. That was great news for him.
Well, certainly it is a victory for the president. As Jeffrey pointed out, there's more to come specifically with respect to whether or not Stormy Daniels can be freed from the non-disclosure agreement that she had entered based on her alleged affair with the president. But the more important piece of this is, of course, this record that the president has of using derogatory language to describe women. And you pointed to so many of the examples on the screen. He also has gone after the women who have accused him of sexual assault. He's attacked their physical appearance, essentially saying who would harass her. He's called them liars. He went after Brett Kavanaugh's accuser, Christine Blasey Ford. He went after Heidi Cruz, the wife of Senator Ted Cruz, during the course of the Republican primary, tweeting a comparison of photo of Heidi and one of Melania Trump. So this is really who he is. It's informative of the way that he views women. And of course, it sets a tone from the highest office in the land.
He threatens them in his tweet today, part two of the tweet. He says, great, now I can go after horseface and her third-rate lawyer in the great state of Texas. She will confirm the letter she signed, the non-disclosure agreement. She knows nothing about me, a total con.
Well, and in his defense, he got attorney's fees in that defamation case. I mean, which is very unusual in federal court, that a judge thinks a claim is so weak that he gives one side attorney's fees. Now, that doesn't guarantee he's going to win in the non-disclosure part of the case, but you know, the fact that he has the opportunity to go after him, and remember, there is an arbitration clause in the non-disclosure agreement, which a lot of federal judges say, I want to get this case out of my courtroom and into arbitration. Michael Avenatti has a response to that. Maybe the judge will buy it. But the president is in a good legal position as regards Stormy Daniels right now.
That said, I think it's worth noting that actually the most legal significance of this exchange is not in this case at all. It is in the separate statement that Michael Cohen made in the Southern District of New York, in which he discussed whether or not the president of the United States might have directed him to make payments potentially in violation of campaign finance law. So I do think that in terms of the sort of broader context of Trump's potential legal troubles, this is a little bit of a distraction.